If we take action in our life, we feel embodied and empowered in everything we do. Everything goes wonderful, fabulous, exactly the way that we want it. What about those times when you're growing, or maybe you haven't really done a lot of work in listening to yourself? And so you have a lot of debates going on here and there and inside of your body. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of feeling like a victim. I come from that background. Anybody else? My, my name is Rhonda Liebig. I'm the host of Fresh Talks Global Vision. I believe that we're coming together in these conversations and us as speakers, but you don't have to be a speaker to be part of sharing the joy of living and really embodying the life that you want. I call it hashtag speaker locking arms. The more that we can really do this work, this mindset stuff and spiritual journey, we'll start discovering that life is incredible and fabulous. You can be in the middle of the storm and everything else is going on, and you're like, oh, I got this. And so today we have Jola Cruise on with us, and we're going to be speaking about voice empowerment, women. We're talking about marriage and really stepping up in your marriage. I know there were times I've been with my husband for 27 years. There's been times I wanted to show up as a victim. Oh, poor me. And it was kind of what I knew. And so you may feel that way too, like, what? This is going to be empowering. Jola Cruise, welcome in.
Thank you.
Get that hello going.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I appreciate the conversation that we had before we were saying, okay, what is this conversation about? And one of the things that you did say is like taking 100% responsibility for your relationships. Sounds empowering, but it can be overwhelming. And this is why this conversation is great. It says spread the right tools to make what happens empowering versus victimizing women in marriages. So many times I just felt like poor me. And now I understand when that starts coming up, use the tools, get yourself reset. And I feel another level of breathing. Jola, can you share with this vibe that you have going about as being a woman and you realizing, or maybe you've always felt strong as a woman, but when did you start realizing that, hey, I can think in another way and I get to show up and there's miracles, that miraculous things that happen relative to the prior time when you jumped into this kind of thinking?
I think I grew up as a victim. I grew up as a victim, and just that mentality of not knowing any better, right? We don't know any better when we grow up that way, certain way. Things are just not going well. And that mindset, my mom was a victim from the very beginning with abusive husband that she ran away from. And so it's almost like carries over from generation to generation. And when you get stuck into it, you just don't know that you're even there.
Well, I mean, I think we only see through our own eyes until I think we can do the natural growing where we start learning more and more as we go along with our life. But this work that you're talking about, coming from a victim space, actually understanding that's a word that really is coming at you like, oh, I'm really stuck in that. And to be able to understand that you're showing up that way. When did you start realizing that you were showing up that way and you knew that this next step could be very powerful?
For about 10 years in our marriage, we struggled a lot. And I constantly thought it was my husband's fault. Therefore, I was very victimized. I felt like a victim. I would talk to my mom and I would cry every day. And then we had the 3 pregnancies back to back. And I felt like my life didn't belong to me. And I remember this one call I had with my coach, and she says, imagine that I have a purple hat on. And what are you going to say? I'm like, nothing. Like, you don't have a purple hat. And if I tell you that you are being mean or you're being like insensitive, you're not being a good wife, if you feel that you're a good wife, you're going to say nothing. But if you feel like you're a bad wife, if you feel like you're being victimized, you're going to just take it on and dwell deeper and deeper into the victimhood. Yeah. So I felt that was all my husband's fault, that all those years that we had, that he made me do certain things, that he made me work with him, that he made me do all those things. But in the end of the day, nobody can make me do anything. Right? Especially my husband. And I just didn't realize that my life belonged to me. And when I heard that the first time, you have the right to make your own decisions. Nobody owns your life. You can say no, and it's okay. And you're not going to lose your marriage by saying no or I can't. And that was really hard for me to understand.
Oh my gosh, I know we're going to get there about the husband side and actually the freedom they get with this, but also that you realize that nobody can tell me what to do. I mean, it feels so empowering and not stubborn unless you're still in the victimhood. Then, that's another way of saying it where you're like stomping your feet and saying it's all their fault. But I know it's this generational stuff. And I love that you had a coach really starting to understand what this meant for you. How did this change? How did this new light change in your relationships? And especially we're talking about marriage, but we're also talking about business. You're working your husband's business. You're out there speaking. You're doing these things. How did it change for you? What did you start seeing? And did you only see through your eyes? Can you share some of the life experience that started happening?
It has to go back to my awaken moment, which it's sometimes when you hit the rock bottom, that's when things change.
Yeah.
So I remember this day when we were arguing with my husband in the kitchen. The kids are little, they're playing on the floor. And I'm just standing there, I'm thinking like, gosh, it would be so much easier to just be a single mom. And I was just like looking at those kids and like I can tear up because that's how I grew up with a single mom. My mom, didn't have a father. And now I'm thinking like, here it is, the history is repeating itself. And suddenly I can hear my husband coming downstairs. And soon enough, he probably asked me a silly question like, is the pasta whole grain or is it white? And I took it as criticism because I was so victimized. And we just start arguing. And we end up underneath this arch to the kitchen. And even though I tried to push us out so the kids wouldn't hear us arguing, but we just start going at it. And we're just yelling at each other. And in that moment, our 6-year-old son, he steps in between us. He like looks up with those pleading eyes and he screams, "Guys, just stop fighting." I literally shivers went down my spine. I could not believe this was the life I was showing to my children. That's how I grew up. I did not want that for them. And it was truly that wake-up call. And my son knows that. He's 13 now. And he's such a happy child to know that he actually saved his parents' marriage in a way. But so the next day, when things happen like that, I think when the student is ready, the master appears or the teacher appears. Next day, I call my life coach. I had a life coach for a period of time. But I could not get out from this stuck zone of in a marriage. I could get my goals maybe a little here, a little there. It was like putting Band-Aids on. Yeah. And it still didn't do much. So the next day I say, enough is enough. I need something different. Like whatever we're doing, it's not working. And she's like, here's the book. Read the book. It's it was called The Surrendered Wife at the time. It's renamed now to The Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I listened to it on Audible for 2 days. Like just listen to it. I was like, oh my gosh, like this light went on. It was just like I was doing all those things to sabotage my own marriage. And I had no idea. I had no idea. So when I read that, I'm like, is she here? Is she seeing me? How does she know that I do those things? So at the same time, at one point, you feel like really guilty that you're doing all those things to break up your relationship. But on the other hand, it's this empowerment came over. I was like, I got this. I got this. I can fix it. If I got it to this point with my victim mentality, with all my lack of knowledge of how a good relationship looks like, I can fix it. And I did. And it's like, gosh, it's been such a ride. It's been 7 years now since that moment. And it just keeps getting better and better.
Jola, I have a question. I actually had tears in my eyes when you're sharing that. If you come from that space, I bet you have tears in your eyes too, because you could be stuck in it or you've seen it. But I love how you empowered your son by allowing the master to come and share with you, like, stop fighting. So I can see that this young man that's going to be in a space of having a partner at some time, that he has a healthy boundary of what things look like. Yeah. I really never understood even boundaries. I just thought everybody, when they said something, that it was something I was supposed to jump and do. So I love that. Let's go in. I want to go in with your husband and the experience he had. And then I want to go into more of like how this actually helps. And I'm thinking you want to go into marriage and business and like that over umbrella of everything, because that's where the success and the power is. What happened with you? First question, I think these go together. You being in the same relationship, transitioning and holding yourself accountable because this man has already seen you in so many years of the victimhood. So you transition into that and working on consistency. And then how did that create a relationship that probably brought you more together and what you saw in him once you shifted and got into that? What happened for your husband? Could you share that?
Well, we lived like two separate people, truly, like two trains on two separate tracks, and we're just going by, passing by, and we didn't see eye to eye. Our business suffered tremendously. It truly did, because we worked together in a plastic surgery. My husband is a plastic surgeon, and we worked together. But when you're not getting along at home, you're not getting along in business either. And so that's why I usually tell women that your intimate relationship is like this foundation of the house. If that's not fixed, if that's not stable, your business is not going to thrive. You throw yourself in there, but you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It's exhausting. But when you can get that relationship, that home relationship with your spouse, with your children, in a good, warm, kind of cozy space, it doesn't mean there's no disagreements, but it's in that cozy space, that safe space. It just changes everything. Like, and for my husband, the interesting thing is that he didn't like the things I started doing at first. When I stopped being a victim, when I started changing. So some of the things he was okay with it, but some of them it just felt like, how can you say no? How can you say I can't when you were saying yes and pleasing, trying to be pleasing but resentful, right? Pleasing all those years, and now you're just saying suddenly no. So it was uncomfortable, but I kept repeating to myself, it's going to be good. It's for the better for a long term. It's not about the short term. It's long term.
Joel, actually had another question, but can we stop just for that moment right there? You were touching on something very interesting because you've been with this man for so long. I think this happens in relationships, and we're really getting into the business and the life aspect. I love where you're going. Okay, so when you first met him, you were like, okay, I pretty much will do everything, and then that you say, and then you're a victim to it. But I mean, you're saying, you're doing everything. You're following his rules, which my husband's like, don't even go there. But I mean, that's what you feel when you're a victim. And then when you start getting a little bit empowered, still stubborn, I'm going to leave the house, I'm going to take the kids away like that. But you start hearing your own voice. And now it's like the husband can accidentally get in the space of like, you are that person. You're this person now. You tricked me into this relationship because you're a totally different person. I'm thinking this happens quite a bit. Mm. Please share. Have you heard this? Did you feel that? Did he feel that?
What felt like, actually, we had a really big shift in the midst of fighting and the midst of arguments, when he said that he felt cheated. When I was in that victim state, I wasn't showing up as my best self. Because when you do things for somebody and you're feeling resentful, they can feel that energy. It's really yucky. It's like gooey. It's like, I usually call it the poison apple. So if somebody asks me for something and I give them that thing, whatever they ask for, it's like I'm giving them a poison apple. They ask me for a favor, but I can always say no to that favor. I can say I can't. I can honor myself and just say in the moment, say I can't do this, and just not give it to them. But I kept giving it. So if he felt that really heavy energy of me being like just trying to please. And one day he said, I feel literally cheated. I feel like you've got the kids, you've got, beautiful house, you've got all this stuff. What did I get? Because he had no appreciation. I would not say thank you. I would not be like really grateful for what I have. I was feeling so victimized. Therefore, I could not appreciate all the goodness that he has provided. And I was in this victim mentality of poor me, not realizing how much great stuff I have going on. Like, oh my gosh, like this is the most amazing man in the world. Like, I cannot imagine being with somebody else. And I almost left him because of my own baggage, my own things.
So there must be some freedom in his space, I bet, when you finally stood into that.
Yeah. So when I shifted after that work, I expressed to him that I would love to take the coaching program. And after that started changing, we started seeing each other like for who we truly are. Like, it's not this monster. It's not this person who's making me do things. I have the power to say I can't, but I didn't think I did. Right?
What happens after this then? What that empowerment, you took the coaching program and you stepped into it, but share with us this life, the marriage. We've already built all these steps of this is how we're showing up. This is where the pivot is. You get called out. Somehow we get called out, but your husband said, I'm feeling cheated.
Yeah.
And now you are starting to feel empowered and you're ready to step in and things just starting to change. You don't just see just what's happening in your eyes, but you actually I feel like are taking a step back and looking at the overall picture. It's a little bit different, a lot different.
Mm-hmm. I look at it from a perspective. It's in the beginning when you start doing this work, it feels very selfish.
Yeah.
It's almost you become from very unselfish and very giving to the extent of beyond to almost tripping over all the way to semi-selfish. I teach women to not go too crazy overboard, still do it in a loving space of respecting the other person. It's not like this thing of like, I'm going to show my middle finger. But sometimes when women don't have the training, they will do that. They will just show enough. I'm like, I've got enough of being this pleaser. I'm not going to do this anymore. And what do? They get a divorce because they think it's all the husband's fault. And in the meantime, not realizing that they maybe decided to be a stay-at-home mom, that maybe they decided to do certain things and now they're not taking responsibility for it because they can't see it. And I would have done the same thing because we went to marriage counseling and I would still sit there in marriage counseling and tell the counselor how bad my husband is. So needless to say, he did not want to go too much. And it kind of got worse instead of better. So when I got this idea of empowerment through my own actions, and this different language and the different skills and the different tools, my husband changed. It's amazing like how loving this person is and how giving. So when he can feel the appreciation for all the things that he does, he's just a different guy.
Oh, and I think all of us individually understand that love that you just couldn't see for years because you just show up differently. We all have that scale of not showing up very well to actually feeling love and magic and more of a flow. How does this affect life? How have you been seeing this as a coach that deals with this and going through your journey and having a business with your husband?
The most amazing thing is that when I look at a woman, let's say the woman comes into me and she's completely devastated. She's so sad. She's depressed. She's all those things, right? She works with me for 3 to 6 months. She takes the program, like learning the skills and tools. She starts learning to take care of herself. And then 6 months later, nothing changed. She may be still a stay-at-home mom, but she's so happy. So it's like nothing he has done has changed. It's everything she has done. It's changed. Like she stepped out from this victim mentality and started taking care of herself. She started having girlfriends. She started doing, going out to dance classes. It's all one side. It's like the best self-development project I've ever undertaken because it's all about making me happy and understanding that's not my husband's job to make me happy. It is mine. And when women realize that, they suddenly stop worrying about what he's doing and not doing and focusing what's on my paper, what's in my lane.
I love it. Okay, so there's a couple things that are coming up for me, and maybe you can clear it up where you're like, I feel like us women really hold a very special spot, very nurturing when you're talking about filling that whole space. Now all of a sudden, you were very nurturing, I bet, to your kids, and you knew how to nurture. I think I had to learn that along the way more than where I am now, because I feel like I just keep getting more and more nurturing and loving. So I bet you were kind of going through your journey with that also. So I feel like we hold a special spot, but we also get to open the space up for love, and it gives the safe space for everybody just to be themselves. So when I look at what a man's experiences are to a woman's, I feel like if we are happy, we just give all this love and open space, and somehow everything falls into the puzzle. But we're not really demeaning the man's role, right? Like we're just talking about, because now all of a sudden the man's happy and then everything's good. But that's where I get confused, because I know as I am healing and looking at things, I just find so much more and more love with my husband. I go, here, wait, did he never do anything wrong? Like all of a sudden that change, because I see him showing up just like this loving person, but I couldn't remember all the things that he did because it didn't matter anymore. But I was like, am I the one that made all the mistakes? Like, how does that work? Because I feel like us as women have a special role when we're doing partnership.
It's, you know how they say like marriage is 50-50? I don't believe in 50-50. I believe in 100 and 100. If I give 100% of myself and dedicate to the relationship in a loving place, not from depleting myself, not from, being a doormat, but from my loving self. And if I love this husband and I cherish him, there's no way that he's going to be mean to me or leave me or anything like that, because he feels appreciated and adored. And therefore I feel this way, same way. If he feels respected, I'm going to be cherished and adored. If he's disrespected, everything falls apart. right? So it's like, that's why they say like the wife is the neck and the man is the head, because we direct everything where it goes, but we don't realize that the power that we have. So in the program I teach is that it's the women have all the power. So poor guys, if the woman doesn't learn the skills and tools, it's much harder from the men perspective to do that.
Yeah, I feel that my husband shifts easily. So if I do a tone, he'll meet me with that tone, which means he's ready to like fight because I'm in that tone. But if I'm there loving, then he meets up with that frequency, that energy. So I find that my husband is, and I look at his family structure too, and I go, no matter what, he just has a very loving mama. And he can be loved, but I couldn't see that because I was thinking the things that you were talking about earlier. And I notice as I open up that space, it feels like I can love even more. Like there's endless love. How does this change how it shows up just overall now, just in relationships and business? I mean, you're talking about this gratitude and love that you have within and that you're sharing with others because you're just in alignment, not questioning, not wanting to fight. Money flow, relationships, business. I mean, everything, eating the right foods because you're looking at the frequency of the food. Like it just seems like once you deal with that battle and you consistently clean every day, I feel like an hour, 2 hours, good on myself. But what do you think? I know you're working with tools and different things. Can you share what that looks like and some of the tools that you like to use for you personally, since you're the guide in a lot of these things?
Beautiful question. The way I look at even as you mentioned the food and everything else around you, I look at that if the marriage is a really struggling marriage, if there's a lot of resentment and victimization things, it's almost like you're carrying 200-pound backpack on your back all the time. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what's happening. It's always in the back of your mind. Therefore, your mind is occupied with this needless emotional turmoil, net, that's from Laura Doyle, needless emotional turmoil that is present with you at all times. Therefore, it's much harder to be creative. It's much harder to do anything because you're constantly occupied with what did he say this to me? Why did he do this thing? It's always him, him, him. But when I take that back and I say, how did I show up? How can I do it better? And I start it's almost like every time we do use a skill or tool, we're removing one rock from that backpack. And we just toss it out and we just toss it out and toss it out and it becomes lighter and lighter. And then guess what happens? There's more creativity that flows in. Now you start thinking, oh, maybe I could work out because I'm going to feel better. I don't have to think about my husband, what he's doing, not doing. I can just actually focus on my own happiness and I can do business, right? That's why I started coaching, because we became so good in our marriage that I wasn't struggling anymore. So therefore the creativity for creating different programs and different things came up. And now I'm going back to business with my husband again because it just feels right, not from obligation, but more from wanting to. Yeah. So when you want to be in that marriage, when you want to be in that relationship, the kids thrive, the relationships at work thrive, everything changes.
And the kids end up thriving so much, no matter what age they are. I know that they can feel the happier we are, that it doesn't matter what age they are. It's just like it's a natural capacity for them to open up because there's something, we're guides and we're allowing that space to be open. That means our husbands, it means the relationships. Share with us about your life, what you love about it and what you're still learning. And maybe when the struggles come in, what you need to reevaluate.
I love how my husband talks to the kids. I used to be such a judgmental person. I would be just like, oh, that's not how you do it. That's like, and I shifted it. That's one of the skills you shift on, the focus on the things that he's doing well and keep growing those. And so I do that a lot when I just catch him doing something right. And I'll just bring it up to attention. And I'll just mention, oh my gosh, the way you're playing chess with Juliet, with our daughter, it was just so heartwarming. And I would stand there and I would literally have tears in my eyes looking at them being together and just doing activities together because I didn't grow up with that. I didn't have a father. So therefore, I never experienced that connection with a father. And when he does that with them, I'm like thanking God every single day that I learned how to save that marriage and that he can do that with them. So when he sees me really appreciating what he does more of that. He connects with the kids more. He's washing the pots and pans, which he never did. It's just the things that used to be so foreign to us. They're just showing up naturally because I'm not nagging, I'm not correcting, I'm not telling him how to do things. And it's just such a more respectful environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he says to the kids, guys, you have no idea, because we'll do smoochy with my husband, huggy and whatever. And the kids will be like, oh, yuck. And they like,
They love it because they're
and they
going to
just love
realize.
it. And my husband would say, you guys, you don't know how lucky you are that you have mom and dad who love each other. And he would say that to them all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
What can you share when some of that tries to come back in? Any of that stuff, people pass away, we go through hard times, there's all these different things. When you start seeing that come in, you probably catch it pretty quick.
It happens. It's I usually call it, it's like when you go through life before the skills, it was like this, right? Now it's more like this. It happens. You're going to have setbacks. And I gave a talk last year in the symposium for Laura Doyle, and it was all about setbacks, because they are going to happen. It's just how are you going to take it in? How are you going to prepare for it so it doesn't last long? So disagreements are going to take place. It's not about agreeing with each other all the time. It's also about disagreeing, because we don't want to just be totally a pushover, right? But how long is it going to last, and how are we going to recover? How quickly can you recover? That's the key. So if you have the skills, you have the tools, it doesn't mean that you're never going to make a mistake. You're going to make mistakes still. You're not going to apply it perfectly. How fast can you recover? How fast can you go and apologize in a way that he would understand? And I do it pretty quickly. It's really amazing how fast I can apologize within seconds. And just text message, send out, done. No, don't hold on to it.
Yeah, I feel that, my friend. Jola, what's happening now? Where do we want to direct people? Do you have some free stuff? Do you have something going on? Do you have a book? And did you do a TED Talk also?
Yes, I did TEDx talk. It's coming up soon on YouTube, but it's very empowering. It only takes one to save a marriage. Yeah. And if you are a woman, you're in luck, because we have all the power, we have all the skills. And I have a website which has a few talks on it. It's jolacruise.com. And also on Facebook, I post I'm very present on Facebook, because that's what a lot of
women. Me too. And I met you through a group, because we're out there speaking with Lisa Reed. Her group is just incredible. I'm so happy I met you. I love your work. You are saving marriages, but you're saving somebody from themselves. You think about how many times, I'm going to cry. You think about how many times you wanted to leave. And you really thought, well, this will be better single, because you've seen it that way, even though we've seen our single parents struggling. And we're like, oh, no, that'll be better. And when I used to think, and it displayed in so many different ways, that men were jerks, men didn't do this, men didn't do that. It's so hard to see through special eyes that how I was pushing this person away. Yeah. And the thing that we have dealt with is how much shifts I made from when we first met. I tell you, Jola, I used to be where I wouldn't cry at all, and I'd empower it, which is the wrong way to use that word. I just say, buckle up, pull your bootstrap. But when I was in corporate doing CPA work, I didn't know how to partner, because it just felt so vulnerable to ask, like almost scary, like I wanted to throw up, because I didn't understand that was one of the biggest things I had to work through. And so as years went on, especially raising the kids, that I started becoming more soft and loving. And so it's so easy for me to connect with animals. We have 5 acres out here. I'm so welcoming with the animals, so welcoming to everybody. And I know my frequency is up, my energy is up, to where it just seems like I'm always with the right people, talking in the store and all that kind of stuff. The hardest part is when you really believe that you're strong when you don't cry, and you meet up with your partner, and you both actually agree upon that, and that the exterior is really important. The way you show up is really important. But the truth is that it's okay if somebody doesn't like me. It's okay that I'm just authentically myself. And so I think there's a reconciliation in some of those marriages. How do we meet up for that? And I like that you're talking about that women really do have all the power. It's getting comfortable and partner with me on this, however you want to say it. But it's like the more comfortable and the more you practice that you're in your body, and more loving, not blaming, maybe crying more because you're just in tune and releasing. Yeah. That's really a good thing, but it may be hard for a while for the partner to understand.
Yeah, in my class, I actually teach about vulnerability. There's a whole chapter in class on vulnerability, how for especially strong women, like you said yourself. I'm a very, kick-ass kind of type of person, right? Like I can do
Yes.
anything. All those women, like look what women are doing right now, and they can do anything. But that doesn't make us necessarily better in love life and in relationships, because when a woman walks in, imagine that if there's a CEO woman, right, and if she walks into a boardroom from feminine energy, the men will do anything for her.
Yeah.
If she walks into the boardroom with masculine energy, they're going to be competing with her. She steps into competition. So instead of being collaboration, it becomes competition. And we have discounted feminine energy so much, and it's so powerful.
And we're not made of tons of testosterone. So when you're coming in very masculine, it doesn't feel as flowy. If it's been built up and you know how to show up that way, or you're playing it because you're thinking, I need to play this.
Correct.
It doesn't, the energy doesn't match with it. And that's what I was learning about is, my corporate experience, my 10 years in CPA field, it would have been so much better if I could have gotten to that point. But growing as a masculine person and watching out for myself, ready to fight, all that kind of stuff, that's part of the experience of growing. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, I came home after corporate and getting back into the health industry and now speaking and speaker coach, all the stuff we do. That I cried a lot when I came home and I go, I never liked any of that. But now I really, and I thought, now I actually really get to see myself. Oh, and I need to go say sorry to a lot of people. Jola, we're going to put links to make sure everybody meets up with you. Anything I missed that you really wish you were able to say too? Maybe something motivational?
Yes, definitely. Your need for love is non-negotiable. And relationships can be easy with the right approach.
Ooh, I love it. Thank you, Jola Cruise. I love you, and I love all that you're doing out there. And I love that you're doing stuff at Big Space there, TEDx.
Yes.
Coming to Fresh Talks Global Vision. Well, you know what I love about this is that we're growing this. But Jola, we have this whole thing about stopping the blaming and shaming. I'm so happy you're here because we're partnering. We're helping people be able to see how they don't have to shame and blame themselves. The elevation of that and how you can see through your eyes. And also, I just think about the outside, not just through my eyes, but how you can give so much love out there so that we feel safe, that we can open up our voice and help others open up their voice. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. The more vulnerable we become, the more we give permission to other people to be vulnerable.
And the stronger we actually are in a nice, beautiful, quiet way. It's just holding the space and the capacity.
Yes.
Oh, I love your vocals too. So sweet and divine. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, love you. Fresh Talks Global Vision. Let's keep watching these interviews. Get involved with us. Make sure you're adding comments. We're sending emails out too. I really want you to connect with Jola Cruise. She is incredible. This is the second time I've talked to her, but every time I feel empowered. Just being in her space, I'm getting nuggets. If you're having a marriage issue and you're thinking, I need to run out now, or you're like, hey, I'm the top dog, or anything else you're dealing with, and you're going to find just what she said. Relationships really can be easy, and it's learning so many things. So come and get the skills. Love you, everyone. Namaste. Catch up with you again, Jola. We'll catch up with you again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.